Hi, this is Paul from Studio Lucid, and today we're going to be looking at the Braids plugin from Mutable Instruments for Softube Modular. If you're not familiar with Softube Modular or with Braids from Mutable Instruments, I suggest you check it out. It's a really awesome bit of kit, and it's not very expensive. You can get it right at softube.com. So with that, let's jump in and have a look. Today we're going to be using Braids to make some beats, so let's give it a shot. You can see we have an empty channel sitting here. I've got it soloed just because we don't want to hear any of the other things that are going on right now. So from our instruments, you can use any DAW you like. I happen to be using Logic in this case. Select our instruments, go to Softube, and we find Modular right here. Let's go ahead and select that. And then there's a couple of modules that we want to start off with. The first one we're going to pick is down the bottom here. It's called Daw Sync, and basically what that lets us do is sync up the tempo of our DAW to our CV, control voltage in. And you probably know that if you hold the shift key while selecting modules, you can select as many as you want. The next thing we're going to select is an 8-step sequencer. Then we are going to select Braids. Alright, so let's make sure we're getting some signal out here. Go from the output of Braids to our audio out from Modular. And you can hear we have a signal there. So let's bump this all the way up to kick, I think is what we're looking for. Here we go. All right. So once we have a kick, we are going to take a clock from 1/1 to our reset. And we're going to take a clock from 1/8 note to our clock in. And we are going to take our trigger out from our sequencer to our trigger in on our Braids. Next thing we want to do is just select a couple of notes by turning them on. Let's boom, boom, and boom. Let's bring the volume back up. And let's see, I have 8 bars here that are cycled on, as you can see. Let's see if we get something when we play here. Alright, so we are getting something. Not the best kick sound I really like, but the nice thing is we can use this Coarse button, bring it down a little bit. That's about an octave. Let's go down another octave. I like it about there. That works pretty good. So what we can see here is a pretty simple way to get a kick, but we want Braids to do a lot more than that for us, and it can do a lot more. So let's introduce another couple of modules and see how we can leverage this. So if we click Add, the first thing we're going to do is add an audio mixer. This time we're going to bring in a 16-step sequencer, and we're going to bring in another instance of Braids. Let's tidy this real estate up a little bit. And we're going to wire this one up very similarly. The only difference is we are going to take this out to our audio mixer from there, this out to our audio mixer from there. Similarly, we are going to take our reset clock from the measure. This time we're going to take a 16th note for our clock, and we're going to take our trigger out to our trigger in and Braids. And we're going to do one more thing here. We're going to take a quantize control out and into our FM control. Alright, so you can see when we use this volume control here, we are getting a signal. Let's kill that, and let's also bring this up to kick. There we go. Now, actually, let's turn channel 1 down, so we're only listening to channel 2. And let's light up a couple of these guys. So we're going to have one there, one there, one there, one there, and one. And let's do that. Okay, let's see if we get anything here. Similarly, we're getting a all right, that's more the kind of sound I want. Let's over here I have a reverb bus. Add a little bit of reverb. I also have an echo bus. You can hear that kicking in. Alright, but here's where the fun really starts. Because we have taken this control voltage out of our quantizer into our FM in, we can actually programmatically use a step sequencer to create other sounds out of our braids module. It's a little bit finicky, but it sure is worth it. So what we want to do is click this setup button. When we see wave, we want to click this up to meta, click set again, setup again, and click this off, use the up button to click on, back to setup, back down to wave, and setup last of all. Alright, so what we want to do now is just crank some frequency modulation in here with this guy, and then let's pick a couple of controls, randomly, that guy, and maybe this guy, see what we get now. Alright, cool, so we're immediately getting something there. We can add more options here by adding another couple of modules. I am going to add, actually I'm going to add some noise. I'm going to add a sample and hold, and I'm going to add a quantizer. Actually, I'm also going to add an LFO. There we go. All right, let's rearrange the real estate. I'm going to bring the noise down here. I'm going to bring the sample and hold down here. I'm going to bring the quantizer down here, and I'm going to bring the LFO down here. So what I'm going to use these for, let's turn down channel number 1, so we're only hearing channel number 2. Alright, so I want to shake that up a little bit. So I'm going to take my noise source out into my sample and hold. I want to go out of my sample and hold into my quantizer, and that simply quantizes the CV to a chromatic value. And we're going to come out of there, and we are going to go to timbre. We're also going to take a signal, a square wave, out of our LFO into our color right here. The last thing we are going to add is a quarter note trigger. Alright, let's see what we get now. All right. So at this point, let's get some more volume here. All right. At this point, we're getting kind of different kind of sound. Let's see what happens if we bring in some more of loops that I kicked in just a little bit before we made this. All right, I'm actually going to kick over to this guy that I built earlier. Very similar. you can see it's the exact same setup, just slightly configured, just a little bit differently. Let's bring in the bass. So you can see right from here, we're getting some really nice effects through our use of braids and some simple sequencing, modified with our noise gate and our LFO. Let's mute these guys back out again. And I can explain this sample and hold. So basically the noise generator is constantly generating lots of frequencies very, very quickly. We don't want them to be consumed at that speed, so by bringing them into the sample and hold, it just grabs a tiny little bit of the noise, takes the signal from the noise, and then holds that until it's triggered to change it to a next value, and that gives us a completely random value. Just to tidy that signal up a bit, we're taking it out to the quantizer, which rounds it up to a chromatic step value, and from there we can come into our braids and allow that to give us some variation. And then of course we're using the LFO over here to provide some variation on the color as well. So that was it. I hope you find this useful. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to hear more, if you want to be notified, ding that bell and like and all that good stuff. And we'll see you next time. I'm Paul from Studio Lucid. Keep on trucking, and let's just run out with a little bit more of this guy right here. So there we have it. You know, 5 minutes worth, and you get a pretty down and dirty, good beat with lots of variation. Great building base for great building foundation for track or a beat or whatever you want to do. Thanks. Have a good one. Bye bye.